What's going on, guys? Big Green Flex here, voice of Flex, coming back with the second video. Like I said, I'm gonna try and do one video a day, and today is number 2. So today we are with It's Complicated again. His videos seem to be the best fitting for the message I'm trying to portray on this channel, at least for now. I want to do some political stuff and like world event stuff, but I want to try and articulate my position on a lot of things, at least for masculinity, before I get into that kind of stuff. So today we're back with It's Complicated again. Make sure you guys go subscribe to him. This one is Consent, Rules of Modern Dating and Understanding Women. So let's see what we got.
When having a first kiss, what is more special to you? If it happens spontaneously in the heat of the moment, or if the guy asks permission first?
Definitely they want it to be spontaneous, but I don't know what they're gonna say actually, but they want it to be spontaneous because it kind of adds to the moment. It kind of adds to like the not aggressiveness, but the power of a male. It shows more of a masculine male figure for them to make the first move, and yeah.
Spontaneous.
Spontaneous.
Yeah, spontaneous.
Okay. What does that say about consent?
If you're fine enough.
No.
So is if you're attractive enough. If you're a good-looking dude, it's okay. If you're an ugly dude, or even if you're not an ugly dude, but if they don't find you attractive, don't even take the chance.
No, they're gonna cancel me.
You have to catch.
I didn't
you have
mean
to catch
that.
the vibe. There's a vibe.
Okay, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
What determines what should and should not be spontaneous during sex?
Why are her eyes closed? Like, she looks like she is absolutely zooted. And the fact she's got, I just noticed she got the Four Loko in the in her arm right there, and then she's hitting the vape. Like, this is the epitome of modern women right here. Like, what you're seeing, eyes closed because she's absolutely faded. She's got the vape in one hand. She's got the Four Loko in the clutch of her arm. She doesn't even know where she's at right now. This is what we get.
If you're ugly, don't even try anything spontaneous.
If you've talked about it at least like before.
They should be able to read the situation, I think, and spontaneous would be the right way to go. I
Yeah,
think.
if you ask, it kind of ruins the moment.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
Facts, yeah.
It makes it a little awkward, I feel like.
Yeah.
I'm a big person on just feeling the vibe. If you don't feel the vibe, and if you don't understand social cues, then maybe you should just wait and ask for consent.
Okay. Does no always mean no?
Yes, no always means no.
Let's be honest, dudes. You know how it is. Like, obviously, we understand when you're not supposed to continue to make advances, but there's a lot of situations where, like, oh no, like I don't want to do that, or I don't. It's only the first time we hung out, and this and that. Like, it's not really like they're actually trying to deny you. They're just trying to like play it off and trying to like kind of play the game a little bit. But with that being said, if she's like legitimately like, no, I don't want to do this, whatever, you need to stop.
Okay. If consent is such an important thing, why don't they typically ask for it in Hollywood movies?
Because it's stigmatized to not be not be sexy, to not be the move, to just take action beforehand. So that's what the publicity goes with.
Hollywood movies are mostly taken from the male perspective, so they don't really get that the women maybe want to be asked.
Okay, but I'm saying, like, if you look at the movie Sleeping Beauty, right? That's a man who kisses a woman who's unconscious. He doesn't ask for her consent, right?
But that was the only way for Sleeping Beauty to be awake.
Okay, all right. What determines what should and should not be spontaneous during sex?
Consent. Literally, like, just asking for consent all the time.
Okay, so every.
But like, come on now, like literally, if say I take a girl out, right, or say I meet a girl out, whatever the case may be, I buy her a couple drinks, we had a good time, we're dancing, whatever. She comes back to the house, and she's in my bed, we're watching some Netflix, whatever the case may be, and okay, do you mind if I kiss you now? Do you mind if I, cuddle with you now? After we're kissing and stuff, okay, do you mind if I take my shirt off or whatever? Like, Like, come on now. That's a little excessive. But the thing is that she's trying to be politically correct. So if she doesn't say something like that, then she's gonna get canceled. And it's like I said in the video yesterday. Like, why can't you just observe the truth? It's fucking stupid.
Every time a guy like puts his hand somewhere, he needs to ask permission for it.
We got an ad coming, guys. I have YouTube Premium on my main channel, but I don't have it on this channel, so you're gonna rock with it. You're gonna rock with me on it.
Stop being so nice to women. Nice will never equal turned on or attracted.
Oh shit. Okay, like, I mean, hey, it's a woman. She knows what she's talking about. It's literally, they always say they want the nice guys, but at the end of the day, we always see them with the dudes that treat them like shit, cheat on them, argue with them, make it so that they always have to do what they want to do. All these things that like actually make a man, but they always say, oh, like, we want a good guy and this and that, but they never actually choose the good guy. The good guy gets friend zoned. We all know this.
To you. I know you want women to be wildly attracted to you, to approach you first, to win at the dating.
We can skip the ad, but oh yeah, we're gonna skip the ad. I was gonna say, but she knows what she's talking about, but it's 2 fucking minutes, or it's 1 of 2.
I think that.
Or just ask if you're comfortable with it.
Yeah, it's all about.
Are you comfortable with me, putting my hands on your waist or something like
And
that?
checking in. I think that checking in, you don't necessarily have to ask every single time, but just checking in and making sure that the person is comfortable with what's going on is like a really big deal.
Establish ground rules.
I will say they do have some truth in that, because there's a lot of situations where people are misread, people are misled. So you definitely want to like make sure that you're not putting yourself in a situation where you could get jammed up. I have a story about that actually, which I'll explain in another video. Maybe I'll do that over the weekend. I want to do one more reaction, but then maybe I'll do a video about that, because it was a mess and I almost got jammed up. And oh man, that story's crazy. I'm definitely gonna make a video about that. But definitely, you want to put yourself in a situation where you can't be the person to blame, or you can't be the person that's gonna end up being behind a fucking cell or in court over some shit that was completely just misconstrued, or people be lying, bro. People be lying.
There's nothing wrong. Every time communication is key.
Right. Okay, if a guy's gonna perform anal sex, does he need to have a pre-production meeting about it?
Yes. And what's funny is that, like, the fact that he asked that question is kind of weird, because like that's like the most obtuse form of sexual engagement. Not in the fact of like, obviously there's a lot more freakier shit, but as far as like, that's definitely one of the things you can't just do without there being some type of prep work. Like, you can't just like go there without there being some kind of idea like, okay, this is what we're gonna do tonight, and in order for that to happen, there's some other things that we have to do for it to happen. So I don't know, he kind of like took it like, I don't know.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and
That is not something you just. Oh.
Sorry, babe, wrong hole.
Putting it in the butthole.
okay.
That should not be spontaneous. That should be consensual.
Man's got the twisted T though.
Because like some girls don't like it in like their anus. So like, you should not just be like, okay, let me put it in your butt. No, you gotta ask, like, are you okay with anal sex? If you're not okay with it, then you can't do it.
Is consent something that can be withdrawn once it's given?
This is a tough one. I personally have never experienced something like this, but I know people that have, and I feel like it's kind of one of those things where in today's world, women will do things that they are okay doing in the moment, but then the next day, say they have a boyfriend, a husband, or just in general, maybe they were kind of drunk and they felt like, oh, I probably shouldn't have done that. If the act is completed, then you probably shouldn't withdraw consent, because it's done at that point. And even if you give it, in the middle of the act, you could debate that you can withdraw it at that point because it's not completed. But it's one of those things where it's like, say what you mean what you say. If we're both on the same page that it's okay to do what we're about to do, then it should mean that it's okay, not that at any point like it's just got to be over.
Yes, I think so.
I don't know. Maybe not.
But I feel like if someone comes in and is like, yeah, let's do this, but then halfway, like, they're getting into it and they haven't done it yet, and they're like, oh wait, I'm not sure about this. I think you can at any point stop. Like, you shouldn't. Once you start, you shouldn't be forced to like
keep going. But
keep
it's also
going.
like, as like someone else, like if you gave consent first, it's like you should have known. Like you should have really thought about it, or else like why'd you give consent?
Thank you. She definitely hit the nail on the head right there, because it's like I said before, mean what you say what you mean. If it was something that was discussed, or just in general, it's something that's kind of like being like recognized in the situation. Don't say that you're okay with something and then 5 seconds later be like, actually, you know what? No, I'm not. Because yeah, obviously, as a man, we're gonna respect the boundaries and all that kind of stuff. But just in general, it's like, why say it's okay and now we're doing this thing that we both agreed was okay to do, and you're taking it away. Because on the female side, it's not it's not that big of a deal. They can do that and go to bed at night and feel okay with themselves and this and that. But on the male side, especially when you're not with someone like regularly, if you're dating and this and that, say you just went out and spent a bunch of money on this person, say you just went out and you know spent all this time making reservations, figuring out plans, organizing something, and then the money on top of it. And now, of course, as the man, the goal is to get laid. And then for that to happen, as the female, it's kind of like, okay. And as the male, sometimes you try to take one on the chin. It is what it is. But just in general, it's like it means a lot more for the male for you to do some shit like that than it does for the female to just be able to just say, oh no, you know what? No, I'm not okay with this. Like, if you want to do something and you think it's okay, it's okay. If you don't want to do it, you need to recognize that before anything happens.
Like it's kind of like, oh, why did you stop? I guess kind of thing.
Just to play devil's advocate, if it's something that can be withdrawn, what would be the point of asking permission in the first place?
I think that's valid.
Yeah,
I think it shouldn't just be a lightweight question at the end of the day.
When you're with a guy, like you might think of him in one way, like maybe at the beginning of the night, and you can be more comfortable with him, and then as the night progresses, maybe there's red flags that come up and maybe you change your mind, and that's completely fine, but that would mean that consent would be withdrawn. And if you're going to say like I'm not comfortable anymore, then consent's not given anymore.
I do agree with that for the most part. There's been a lot of situations I've observed where a man is taking a girl out. Maybe it's one of my friends. Maybe it's just I'm seeing it in the bar, in the club, whatever, where you can tell that they're together. Maybe they're not together in like boyfriend girlfriend sense, but they're together like they obviously came out with each other, and you can tell that the girl is not really feeling the situation anymore. She's not really comfortable with the situation anymore. Whatever the guy did, I don't know, but it's very obvious that like it's not the same situation it was maybe a few hours prior to that. And so if at that point, if the dude doesn't recognize that, then dude, you gotta hang up. Like, it's on you. You gotta fucking throw the towel in. You gotta accept the defeat and just keep it moving. And it's even for the guy. I was in a situation last night where I kind of was like, you know what, like, yeah, I could maybe get laid, but the chances are still kind of slim. But even if I do, like, do I really want to do this? Like, the situations is kind of in. You just got to recognize when it's like it doesn't make sense to progress forward with whatever's going on. And as a dude, you got to be willing to do that. Like, I was willing to walk out the door because I was like, you know what, nah, it's not worth it, especially with all the other, so you got to be willing to do that, male or female.
But I actually do agree with you. I think that it is something that should be able to be withdrawn. But here's my question. Is there a difference between withdrawing consent during and after the act?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. I think if you're doing it after the act, like after it's all done, you'd be like, oh, I didn't give consent, but you actually did. I think that's where the issues occur. Like, I think if you're in the middle of it, you can withdraw. But after you finish the act, I feel like you can't say, like...
Yeah, that's more regret. That's not...
Like I was saying before, like, that's usually how it goes in today's world. It's not that the consent was given and then taken away before anything happened or before things were finished. And we all know what I mean by that. But in general, it's usually 9 times out of 10, there was a situation, someone slept with someone, and in the morning, after, sobering up and whatever, usually the female looks back on the situation and says, you know what, no, don't, I don't feel comfortable with the fact that I did that. It's not that they didn't give consent to the guy or didn't feel comfortable with the guy in the moment. It's the fact that they now regret the fact that they did it. So then they're going to say, okay, I was R word, insert. I was, assaulted. I was taken advantage of, whatever the case may be, because they now are looking back and saying, dang, I shouldn't have done that. Instead of recognizing, and this goes back to accountability, which we'll talk about a lot on this channel, this is recognizing the fact that you put yourself in a situation, you were okay with the situation, you went along with it. You can't just decide to take that away because you regret doing something. It doesn't work that way. You have to recognize your flaws, recognize your what's the word I'm looking for? Recognize what you did wrong in a situation and be able to move on from that and grow from that, and not just throw it back onto the guy, because like I said, it's usually the girl. Throw it back onto the guy and say, oh, no, like I was. No, it doesn't work that way.
It's not even like, oh, I didn't give consent. That's regret. Like, oh crap, I did it and didn't want to type thing.
A lot of us girls are nervous to withdraw consent, so we kind of just let things happen. I don't think that it's okay either way. I mean, I think that, like, if they're withdrawing consent, like, whatever the guy is doing is not okay either way. If the woman is uncomfortable, whether or not she said anything.
If a guy gives you an engagement ring and he calls off the engagement, should you give the ring back?
No, hell no. It's my ring.
Okay.
What? Like, what's funny? I actually saw, I don't remember if it was like Judge Mathis or it was one of those type of shows. And they were in there because the dude was trying to get the ring back from the girl because because the day of their wedding, like they already did like the ceremony and everything, that night at the reception, the dude comes in and finds his wife, now wife, with two of the groomsmen in a hot tub, butt naked. So he called it off, and then is trying to sue her for the ring, or at least for the cost of the ring, because he's like, man, like, no, I deserve that back. I got this with intentions of marrying you. You ruined that commitment. You ruined that trust and that deal in a way. And now I want that shit back. And she was like, no. And it turns out she actually had been engaged like 3 times and actually pocketed all the other rings. I don't know if anyone else has ever seen that episode, but that shit was crazy to me. And the fact that she agrees with that, but on the flip side, we'll argue the other situation. It's like, bro, come on now.
So why is it if a man withdraws consent to an engagement, he loses the ring?
I mean, I don't think women are objects like rings are.
I wouldn't say he loses the ring, but you lost the value of that woman.
Okay. If marriage is supposed to be an equal partnership, why does a woman get an expensive engagement ring but a man doesn't?
I mean, I'm sure they could, but I don't think most.
That's bro.
What do I want? I want to know myself, and
Most of them want it. I mean, they get a ring. It's just not really as
What if a guy
expensive.
wanted like a $20,000 motorcycle?
I mean, I guess it's all between you and your partner. I spoil my men.
If a man consents to sex, does that mean he's consenting to potentially becoming a father?
Technically, yes. I feel like, and that's what when the whole Roe v. Wade situation happened, which, of course, everyone freaked out, but it's on the states, so it's not really like the women are losing their right to do that, which that's a whole other conversation. Whenever you're engaging in intercourse with the opposite sex, whether male or female, as long as there is a male and a female, you are accepting the fact that there is a possibility, whether it's 0.01% or 100%, that the female can get pregnant in that situation.
Well, if he was smart, he would use all the protection and not. He would do everything in his power to not be the father.
Right.
I think if it happens, it's a consequence of him making the decision of having sex.
Okay. If a woman consents to sex, does that mean she's consenting to potentially becoming a mother?
Yes.
I think it's the same thing.
Yeah, I think,
If you're doing it, there's a risk of it.
Yeah.
If you take every
I respect if these. I've noticed in his videos there tends to be like an outlier of who's actually recognizing the questions, recognizing their answers, and able to logically break it down inside their head instead of just reacting with emotion. So I respect women like this that are not just reacting because they had some type of shit happen to them or their friend or whatever, and it's no, they're actually thinking, oh no, yeah, like it's on both parties.
precaution, you can, and whatever happens, happens.
So why is the man often blamed for getting a woman pregnant, aka knocking her up, when it actually takes two people?
Because that's the way that our court system is ruled. If as a man, if you ejaculate and whatever inside, and next she gets pregnant, it's, oh, you knocked me up, and oh, you got to pay child support, or I'm gonna get rid of this the female, because I'm gonna get rid of this baby, this and that. Where it's like, no, like technically speaking, we're both accountable here. We're both responsible for what happened.
That's tough.
I think it's just another stereotype.
Yeah, I agree.
Good answer.
Don't women ultimately get to decide who has sex and who gets born?
Yep. I don't know what they're gonna say to that, but that is 100% true.
True. Essentially, yeah, I could agree with that.
Are there any decisions more important than those two? Don't those choices determine the future of civilization?
Kind of, yeah.
And doesn't great power come with great responsibility?
Yes.
Yeah, but they can't fucking handle responsibility, which is what. Never mind.
So wouldn't you say that there's a lot of responsibility on the woman when it comes to those issues?
Yes,
I would say so,
I
yeah.
think responsibility goes both ways.
Okay, that's fair. If two drunk people meet and have drunk sex, how do you know who took advantage of who if neither one could offer responsible consent?
It's not consenting on either. Yeah. Neither party was able to soberly consent. So therefore,
What happens?
whatever.
But here's the thing, though, and this is a very, very specific detail that I want to point out. The issue with what they're talking about right now is the fact that a man, in today's world and what's going on in the world and how our systems are in place, a man, if he has drunk sex with a female, say he doesn't remember it, say the girl is not attractive to him, whatever the case may be, he's just going to say, guess what? I got laid. I, had sex and this and that, whatever. He's going to go on about his life. The female, and this is what makes us different, because a man can have sex and not ever think about it again. The female is going to contemplate that situation and say, oh, I was drunk. What was I thinking? Who was I with? Why was I with him? Whatever the case may be. Even if she, in the moment was enjoying herself, outside of the sex, like enjoying herself, was happy with the situation, happy with the dude, she really liked the dude. Maybe she isn't really thinking about it that heavily as far as in the negative sense, but just in general, the female is the only one in that situation that's actually going to contemplate what happened and why it happened and how it happened. Whereas the man is going to just literally go on about his life as if either it didn't happen, or if it was something he remembered and it was good and stuff like that, he's going to try and make it happen again. Whereas just in general, the female is going to be the only one in that situation that's going to overthink it and potentially forego consent and regret what she did, which is not okay.
Happens, and that's
Unfortunately,
unfortunately,
aren't most sexual encounters happening under drunken conditions?
Yeah.
So that's kind of a problem, right?
Yeah.
If you put yourself in a situation where you choose to drink, where you get so drunk, where you hook up with someone and you don't remember anything and then try to accuse it as being rape, that is not right.
That's why you should always have friends around you.
Exactly. You should
People
never
you
do it
trust
alone.
around you.
And always have.
It's not even about having friends around you. It's about the fact that you should recognize what you're doing in a situation. Like, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of piece of shit dudes out there that will take advantage of women, that will R-word women, that will sexually assault women, all this other stuff. But most dudes are just going to go with whatever is happening, especially if it seems like they're going to be able to get laid. Most dudes in any situation, whether they're drunk or not, or the girl's drunk or not, if they're like, okay, this girl seems to be down, she's coming back to the crib with me, this and that, they're just going to keep going with that flow. They're not going to try and stop it. You know what I'm saying? Whereas the female is, on the other hand, going to do everything in her power to stop it. Or if she doesn't, she's going to look back at the situation and say, "Oh no, I shouldn't have done that." And it's like, no, we're all adults in this in this fucking world. If you're above the age of 21 and you're choosing to drink and, go out or whatever the case may be, you need to be able to recognize the situations you're putting yourself in, who you're talking to, what you're doing. Because let's be honest, we've all been blackout and we've all been drunk as fuck and all this other shit. But 9 times out of 10, in the actual situation, you know what you're doing. You might not like it, male or female, you might not think it's okay, but a lot of the times, you know what you're doing. You might not remember it, but in your drunken mind, you're making the conscious decision to do whatever it is that you're doing.
With DD, always.
And I agree with that. Some people, accept that responsibility, and some people call that victim blaming. So it just depends on,
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
Victim blaming is definitely, yeah.
You can't really point fingers in that situation.
Yeah.
Okay, but who's typically blamed in that situation?
The man.
The man.
Yeah.
Okay, is that fair?
No.
Not really, no.
Okay,
not at all.
so why aren't false accusations taken more seriously when there's plenty of scenarios where it's not necessarily just the man's fault?
That's a very good point, because I don't personally know anyone that's been falsely... Actually, I do, but there's a lot of times in this world that a dude is falsely accused and is convicted, goes to jail, goes to prison, reputation ruined, school ruined, job ruined, all these things off of a false accusation. And once it's recognized that it was false and that, it was consensual sex or whatever the case be, there's no repercussions for the female. She just gets to go on about her life as if nothing happened. And it's like, no. If a man can go to jail for doing it, a woman should go to jail for falsely accusing somebody of doing it, because one, that's a lot of time and effort spent into nothing. That wasted money, wasted time, wasted effort for the police departments, for the investigators, all this other stuff. And secondly, you shouldn't be able to that's slander. You shouldn't be able to just do that and keep moving about your life as if nothing ever happened. There needs to be repercussions, but there's not going to be.
I think because society sees men as very masculine over women, so they see always them as taking advantage. But I think that's just another stereotype, another trend that's always seen as like the man being the stronger, dominant.
What are the differences between the stereotypical nice guy and the stereotypical bad boy?
The stereotypical nice guy is like, he always gets ignored and he gets swept under the rug, and he's just like,
Took that last corner pretty quick.
Sir, I need one hand on the roof, one hand on the pump.
Timeout for Sunoco Go rewards.
Keep pumping.
With new Sunoco Go rewards, when you fuel, you save, because rewards come first.
I was going to go ahead and get premium on this account.
Brendan, you're not fat. It's the shirt. Look at Nate. His true classic is tight around the chest.
he's the I asked for a hug type of person. And the bad boy, like, he gets bitches and
he opens the car door, but he expects something though.
Okay. Why do you think we have the expression "nice guys finish last"?
Because a lot of people like overlook their, like, if you have a friend and he's like so sweet to you and you might not think that he is your would like go for him like that, then you might just like look over him, oh, he's just a friend, but really he's the person who would like always like treat you the way you wanted to be treated.
Okay.
Even if they're like kind of a pushover a little bit. I think women definitely like dominance.
Okay. Well, what do women find attractive about a bad boy?
The dominance.
Yeah.
That might come with like
Assertiveness, dominance, masculinity. Generally speaking, dudes that are more masculine, more alpha, more whatever, more assertive, make more money, are usually doing better for themselves, usually have a lot more things going for themselves, usually have a better history sexually, and that they've been with more women, which to women that's attractive because they want a dude that every other girl wants. So, so to them, it's more attractive to see that because it means that they're good for a potential, long-term mate or father to their kids. Whereas a nice dude is just gonna sit back and just kind of go along with everything they're saying, go along with everything they're doing. And for women, that's not it's not fun to them. They need emotion. They need emotion. Yeah, they need an emotional roller coaster to be able to keep that spark going for them to stay aroused sexually to you.
emotional abuse and like stuff like that, but like a lot of women like to be dominated.
Bad boys are just bad boys. They're hot. I don't know.
Okay. Why do we have the expression "nice guys finish last"?
Probably because they take too long, like to secure the bag, I guess, like secure the girl. But with bad boys, they're just like, I want this. That's it.
Okay. And what do women find attractive about a bad boy?
Like gang stuff. Like I don't know. Like just like having a good time. Like not really worried about any of the stupid shit.
How do bad boys treat women?
Bad boys treat women bad, I guess.
So why is that good?
It's not good. I guess it's just fun.
So
what did I say? It's fun. They want that emotional roller coaster. They want someone that's going to cheat on them. They want someone that's going to do them wrong. They want someone that's going to take advantage of them in the bedroom. Well, this is a video about consent, but they want someone that's going to choke them and slap them, and spank them and all this other shit in the bedroom, but is also going to sit there and walk around with his chest up and, be able to assert himself in situations and provide his dominance in situations and stuff like that. So that's fun to them. They don't want the dude that's just kind of sitting back. He goes to work, he comes home, and he fucking sits there, and he's babe, or the girl's like, oh hey, I want to go do this. And he's like, okay, cool. Like they want someone that's going to take control, take charge.
What is the difference between withdrawing consent and regretting sex?
Withdrawing consent. You're probably just.
One of them is in the moment or before the moment is actually happening, realizing, dang, like I probably shouldn't do this. Let me stop. Respectful. Like we're all grown, we can respect that and we can commend that because sometimes, or most of the time, it's usually because there's a reason. Whether there's a significant other, spouse, STDs, whatever the case may be, they're like, you know what, no, I shouldn't do this. The other one is I did something that I enjoyed in the moment, but because of my spouse or my significant other or because of my reputation or because of who I am as a person, I don't want that to be attached to my name. So now I think that I regret what I did. Way different.
Not comfortable. It just wasn't for you.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on the situation, if you were having sex with someone in the middle of it, you want to stop, it's probably because you're uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
The man should not continue, and if he does, well, then that's not right. After, if you regret it, then you regret it.
But I feel like we have nights that are just like, ugh, like I regret hanging out with that guy. Like I don't regret what specifically happened, but like I wish it didn't happen.
Do you think we're headed towards needing consent contracts for sex?
At this point, fucking maybe. I feel like most of the time, usually it's a very easy situation. It's a very easy way to tell what's going on and if it's okay or not. But we've seen all the videos or my friend was R-word or this and that. It's like, man, no, they weren't. They did something that they now look back on and wish they didn't do. Or it's not even that they wish they didn't do, it's just the fact of a lot of times women know that their body count matters and that men talk and that them sleeping with multiple men, or having a high body count, or doing certain things on the fly like that as unattractive to men. So they look back and say, dang, even though I really did enjoy that and I did want to do it, I regret it, and I want to take it back because I want to be attractive to the next dude that actually might be a potential mate.
I don't think it's gotten that bad. I mean, my gosh.
I feel like that takes out all the spontaneousness.
Yeah, facts.
Or even like, no one's gonna be like, come sign my contract.
Yeah.
Right, it does definitely take a lot of the romance out of it. But believe it or not, they've actually come out with apps for consenting apps.
I think it does probably solve
but
issues.
also, if you did sign one, would you still be able to withdraw consent?
Exactly. Like, at what point do you draw the line where it's like, okay, you got these apps. Say I'm with a female, and she signs the app, and I sign the app, and whatever happens, happens. And next thing you know, she's like, actually, no. It's like, well, okay, well, what's the point then?
Because then you'd kind of be like, it's in writing. You know what I mean?
I
You're
think
kind of
you gotta read the small font. If the paper says like you can't withdraw once you sign, then.
And my question is also, if you could withdraw consent after you sign a contract, why are we still using contracts?
That's true.
Yeah, agreed.
I mean, how else would it be possible to hold anyone accountable?
Exactly.
I agree.
So.
I think that at the end of the day, we need more education on consent, and I don't think that there's a lot of funding in that. And I think
No, it's not that we need education on consent. It's that we need people to say what they mean and mean what they say. And if they're doing something that they're uncomfortable with, recognize that in the moment and say something about it in the moment, not the next morning or a week later or whatever. Say, oh, you know what? No, I actually don't think that I wanted to do that. Or I regret doing that, so I'm going to withdraw my consent that I had in that moment. It's not about more education on it. It's about people understanding their emotions and being able to live in a world where they can act on their emotions with genuinity and not just sit there and go about their business and be drunk and say, "Oh no, I was drunk." Like, no, that's not an excuse. You knew what you were doing. So why is it that someone has to now sit in jail for 15 years because you knew what you were doing, but you decided a week later that you didn't want to do it? No.
that men and women, everyone, whatever you identify with, I think that everyone needs to be more.
She said whatever you identify with. It's only men and women. That's the only two genders.
Informed on consent.
I personally think all sexual encounters should be filmed and sent to me for verification.
That's a little weird. All right, cool. Let me know what you guys think. Freaking, we said a lot in that video. This particular video is only like 13 minutes long. It's like half the length of the one from yesterday, but the actual video that I recorded is almost the same length. So that says something. But definitely let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm gonna try and make one again tomorrow. Make sure to check out the TikTok. It's the same, Voices Flex. Drop a subscription. Drop a like. Drop a comment. Make sure to subscribe. If you're on TikTok, make sure to drop a follow. I uploaded 3 yesterday. I'm gonna try and upload 2 or 3 a day on TikTok. Upload 1 a day on YouTube. It's gonna get tough, but I'm gonna try and do it. And hope you enjoyed. I have to pee really bad. I'll catch y'all in the next one.